Lagos was awake before the sun. Danfos argued with traffic lights. Hawkers tapped on glass. The air smelled like roasted corn and impatience. Adaeze stepped out of a ride-hailing car in front of the university library. Sunglasses on. Red bag across her shoulder. She was fast. She was sure. And she was always 10 minutes late on purpose. People made room for her energy. Chike pushed a wheelbarrow of donated books to the same library door. He volunteered for the campus literacy program before his morning lectures. He walked with the confidence of someone who had carried heavier loads on village farms. His shirt was clean. His accent was firm. His eyes were kind. They met when bumped into the wheelbarrow. A book fell open on her shoes. The title read, African Culture and Modern Life. She looked up, half annoyed, half curious. Sorry, she said. No wala, Chike replied, smiling. Are you returning? Or borrowing culture? She laughed, despite herself. Maybe learning. He nodded. Good. Culture is a language. If you speak it well, it brings peace. They carried the books together. She asked about the program. He asked about her business course. They exchanged numbers. Felt light. Felt simple. Their first date was Suya and Zobo under a giant billboard for a luxury phone. Adaeze talked about brands, new ideas, and her mother's taste for imported furniture. Chike talked about honest work, village market days, and his mother's spice business. They did not agree on everything, but they listened. When he mentioned kneeling to greet elders, Adaeze went quiet. When she spoke about choosing her own path, he frowned a little. But they laughed again. The evening ended with a small promise. Let's see each other again. Days became weeks. They studied together. They prayed in their different ways. They ate at roadside places. She taught him fast email habits. He taught her patience with small things, like letting tea cool before judgment. They were two roads, slowly learning how to share a lane. One Sunday, Adaeze invited him to her parents' home in Lekki. The gate opened with a hum. Inside, art pieces hung on white walls. The rug felt like walking on a cloud. Mr. and Mrs. Okafor were polite but distant. They asked tidy questions. Which secondary school? What are your plans after graduation? What do your parents do? Chike answered with calm pride. He spoke about his mother's farm, his father's small carpentry shop in Oka. He didn't pretend. He didn't hide. After he left, Mrs. Okafor sighed. Nice boy, but village-minded. Adaeze felt heat in her chest. He is humble, she said. And real. Her father adjusted his glasses. Real does not pay Lagos bills. Culture is fine. But does he have our standard? That night Ada texted Chike. They think you are not our level. He replied after a long pause. Levels change. Values don't. I'm not here to impress. I'm here to love you well. She stared at the ceiling. Somewhere outside, the lagoon kept breathing. The compound where Chike rented a room was in Yaba, close to the market. Clotheslines cut the sky like ropes. Radios argued with chickens. Children chased a tire down a corridor. Mama Chike arrived from the village on a Tuesday. Bag on head, wrapper tied firm. Her handshake told stories. Her eyes did not blink away reality. She greeted everyone and quickly started cooking. The smell of ogbono and crayfish filled the corridor. She asked about Adaeze between stirring the pot and blowing charcoal fire. Is she respectful? Mama asked. She is, Chike said. She is also strong. Strong is good, Mama said. Strong must learn when to bend. Later that week, Adaeze visited. She wore simple jeans and a pastel blouse. She brought fruits and a small gift for Mama, a fine wrapper in bright, careful colors. Mama smiled, surprised and pleased. They talked about food, market prices, and Lagos rent. It was going well until an older neighbor greeted Mama, and Chike knelt briefly in respect. He expected Adaeze to follow. She hesitated, then bent her head slightly, standing. The corridor froze for a second. No one spoke. The neighbor's eyes did a quick survey. Mama said nothing, but her face closed a little like a door in wind. When they went inside, Adaeze whispered, Kneeling is not the only way to show respect. Chike kept his voice gentle. True. But in my home, kneeling speaks our language. I can learn your language, she said. But I don't want to be forced. I'm not forcing, he said. I'm asking. The conversation ended without a winner. The food tasted good but not as sweet. Meanwhile, Lekki had its own studio of opinions. In a hair salon where Mrs. Okafor trusted the gossip more than the hairdryer, women asked questions wrapped like sweets. Your daughter wants to marry from the village. Will she fetch water from a stream now? Laughter followed, soft and sharp. Mrs. Okafor smiled politely, but the words landed. She took them home like hidden stones in a bag. That weekend, the two families agreed to meet for an introduction. The place would be Chike's uncle's house in Surulere, neutral ground. Both sides began to plan in their different ways. Adaze's family called a caterer, planned a clean display, and selected envelopes. Chike's people gathered cola nuts, palm wine, and a talking drum. On the morning of the visit, Adaze's parents rehearsed lines. "We support love, but we value structure." They picked matching outfits. In Yaba, Mama adjusted her head tie, her eyes shining with a mix of hope and caution. She pulled Chike aside. "Your wife must carry culture like a child, close to the chest." When the two cars arrived on the street, neighbors found reasons to stand outside. Lagos loves a spectacle. The first greetings were warm, the smiles careful. Then small cracks appeared. An aunt asked if Adaeze could kneel for elders. "Just small." It did a half bend. Another aunt frowned. There was a whisper, then a louder suggestion, then a correction. A talking drum tried to soften the mood. The mood did not soften. The introduction ceremony began with hopeful music. Plastic chairs formed a circle, with a gap in the middle like a small stage. The palm wine stood on a tray, sweating under the heat. Cola nuts rested like red promises. Photos of ancestors watched from the wall, quiet judges. An elder from Chike's side cleared his throat. "Welcome. We are happy our son has found a flower in your garden. Our people say when a man finds a wife, he finds good thing. But good thing must be received in the right way." He listed the items for the custom. His words moved like a careful dance. He asked for prayers. He asked for respect. He asked for Adaeze to kneel when she presented wine to find her husband in the room. A tradition of play and meaning. Mr. Okafor spoke next. He thanked them for hospitality. He mentioned education, personal choice, and modern life. He said kneeling was not a mark of character. He used the word optional. Fell heavy. A murmur moved through Chike's uncles like a small storm. Mama's lips pressed into a line. An aunt clicked her tongue so softly it sounded like a clock. The time came for Adaeze to carry the wine. She stood, palm wine calabash in her hands. The room leaned closer. She looked around, smiling. Her eyes settled on Chike. He stood at the back, as custom demanded. She began to walk. Halfway she paused. Tradition expected her to kneel as she offered him the gourd. She began to bend, slow, respectful, but not all the way. Her knee hovered above the mat. She held his gaze, asking a silent question. "Is half enough?" Chike looked torn. His love pulled one way. His people pulled the other. He took the gourd with both hands, a compromise of gestures. The elder coughed. "In our place, respect is not half." The room tightened. Mr. Okafor stood. "In our place, dignity is not performance." Words piled on words. Someone mentioned bride price like a challenge. Someone else said, "We are not selling anybody here." The drum stopped. The air changed. The thunder rolled in. A younger cousin, eager to please, tried to joke. "Let love win, Jer." It fell flat. Mama stood slowly. "We are not proud people," she said. "But if our ways are insulted today, tomorrow will be worse." Adaeze placed the calabash down, her hands shaking. "I did not mean insult," she said. "I only wanted to stand as myself." The elder softened a fraction. "My daughter's self is good. Marriage is two selves learning one language." Silence grew. Then a neighbor's generator coughed to life outside. An ugly sound in a holy moment. The meeting ended early, unsettled. Formal smiles returned, but real smiles were hiding. As the cars left, children began to play again, pretending none of it mattered. Inside two hearts it mattered very much. That night, Chike and Adaeze met by the lagoon. The water was black and kind. He spoke first. "I felt small today. Not because of you. Because I could not make two worlds hold hands." Adaeze wiped her eyes. "I felt like a visitor in my own life." They sat without talking for a while. In the distance, a fairy cut through the dark, like a stubborn hope. Days passed with quiet messages and shorter calls. Pride healed slowly. But love stayed, stubborn and patient. They decided to try again, this time without an audience. First, Adaeze went to Yaba on a market day with Mama. No makeup, no sunglasses. Just her face and a simple dress. They walked through the noise of bargaining. Mama greeted traders in a rhythm that sounded like a poem. She showed Adaeze how to feel the weight of good tomatoes. How to test yam with a fingernail. How to measure pepper with the eye. They spoke about marriage between the price of fish and the cost of transport. "Respect is not kneeling alone," Mama said, selecting okra. "It is understanding what feeds a home." Adaeze nodded, holding the bag. "I want to feed your son well." Mama smiled, brief but honest. "Then you and I will be friends." They cooked together in the corridor. Adaeze burned her finger once and laughed it off. She carried a tray to the neighbor who had frowned the other day, and greeted her with a small bend. Not a full kneel, not stiff pride. The woman took the food, surprised. The compound relaxed an inch. Next, Chike went to Lekki with a gift for Mrs. Oka, a book on contemporary African design. He spoke to her about the value of modern spaces, and how they can still tell old stories. He asked to join a charity drive she supported. He wore a simple shirt, but ironed it until it respected the light. Mr. Okafor arrived during the visit, guarded but curious. The men talked in slow sentences about building a life that could survive rent, school fees, and unexpected rain. Chike did not pretend to be rich. He presented a plan: work, further training, a small side business he could start with savings. Mr. Okafor listened because the plan had numbers, not just hope. Adaeze and Chike also started a weekly ritual in the university courtyard. They brought notebooks and wrote down each other's non-negotiables. Hers: honesty, shared decisions, owning her voice in public and private. His: respect for elders, time for family rituals, learning each other's languages, literally and culturally. They underlined common ground: faith, service, humor, work ethic. They circled one hard word: kneeling. So they made a deal. Adaeze would kneel during key rites if she could also speak a vow in her own words about mutual respect. Chike would defend her dignity if anyone tried to turn tradition into humiliation. Both would learn each other's mother tongue over time, not for show but for family. When they went back to Surulere to speak with the elder, they came with this plan. The elder listened, then nodded. A house with 2 doors needs 1 key, he said. Your key is agreement. He taught them a small gesture from their people. When sharing food, each person feeds the other a small bite. It is not about hunger, he said. It is about telling your mouth to speak carefully to the one who feeds you. They practiced smiling like children. For the first time in weeks, the future felt less like a fight and more like a path. The wedding day arrived on a Saturday with sky-bright confidence. They chose a venue that touched both worlds. An open hall in Surulere, close to the market, decorated with clean, modern lines. Ankara fabrics met white lilies. A talking drum sat beside a small jazz band. On the program, 2 sections stood side by side: traditional rites and modern vows. Guests entered curious and ready to judge. That is normal. Lagos eats and judges. The ceremony began with prayer and a welcome. The elder from Chike's side asked for kola nut. He blessed it and broke it. He asked the bride to bring palm wine to find her husband. It took the gourd. Her wrapper was elegant, her head tie smart. She walked with steady steps. When she reached Chike, she looked at him, then went down on one knee. Not forced, not trembling. She held his eyes and smiled. The hall went silent, then softened. Chike took the gourd with both hands and bent low as well, a mirror of her honor. Whispers changed from sharp to sweet. Mama's face relaxed into joy. Even the aunt who clicked her tongue earlier nodded, unwilling but converted. After the wine, the modern vows began. They took a mic and spoke clearly. Today I honor your people and mine. I will never let culture be used to shame us. I will never use modern life to tear us. We will choose what brings peace and mercy. Chike spoke next. I will carry our traditions with humility, not pride. I will protect your voice in every room. We will raise children who greet with their hearts first. The jazz band slipped into a soft tune. The talking drum answered. Did not clash. Conversed. Mr. Okafor surprised himself by smiling wide. He raised a glass. To wisdom, he said, loud enough for God to hear. At the reception, the food was a story. Jollof beside pasta. Palm wine beside sparkling juice. Bitter leaf soup beside grilled fish with a city twist. The dance floor carried old steps and new moves. Aunties taught the younger ones how to turn the wrist with grace. Cousins taught the aunties how to shoulder drop like the internet taught them. There were still small frictions. Someone complained about the bride price list. Someone else grumbled about the DJ mixing highlife with R&B. But the couple's piece set the tone. They moved together like people who had fought and chosen each other again. As the sun dipped, Mama pulled Adaeze aside. Daughter, she said, voice thick. You bent today without breaking. That is strength. Mrs. Okafor hugged Chike. You won my respect with your plan and your patience, she whispered. Take care of our girl. Later, when the hall was almost empty, Adaeze and Chike stood at the doorway, watching cleaners sweep rice off the floor. It felt holy, the simple end of a big day. They held hands. We did not force a bridge, Adaeze said. We built one. Chike squeezed her hand. And we will keep repairing it when the rain comes. They stepped into the Lagos night. The city hummed. Somewhere far away, the village breathed. In the middle stood two people, learning to be one house with many rooms. Moral lessons. Love survives when respect is stronger than pride. A marriage is not one culture winning. It is two hearts choosing peace. Respect is not only shown by actions but by understanding. Families should build bridges, not walls. True strength is bending without breaking. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Gist Folktales for more inspiring African stories.